Michelle.
Yeah.
I'm really delighted to join you all today. Thank you for having me. Let's see if I can present. I'm excited to share a little bit with you about Viva Amplify. All right. See if the sharing will work. You can hear me okay?
Yep, can hear you and see the deck. Good.
Excellent. All right, well, thank you. So I am a product manager on the Viva Amplify engineering team at Microsoft, and I do a lot of sharing about Viva Amplify with customers, whether they're before they're purchasing or after. And so I'm just going to talk a little bit about what Viva Amplify is, and then I'll give you a demo. So really encourage interaction. So if you want to either put something in the chat or come off mute, please feel free to ask questions or interact. Michelle, I would ask while I'm doing the demo, it's hard for me to see the chat. So if you don't mind just alerting me if there's a question or something that comes up while I'm doing the demo, that'd be super helpful.
Absolutely.
Thank you. All right, so Viva Amplify is a new tool for communicators. And so when we started looking at whether this would be something that would be of value, we recognize that communicators continue to face a lot of challenges in their organizations. And to some extent, they are continuing to multiply with different tools. AI brings some additional opportunity, but also some uncertainty for our communicators. But the main thing is that there's still a lot of uncertainty around whether you're reaching your audience. So the process to communicate broadly is a little bit disjointed, right? There's lots of different tools, lots of different endpoints. People are working on lots of different apps. And so communicators are challenged to know, am I reaching that audience where they're working? Are they especially receiving the critical messages in a timely fashion? And we're seeing that these communicators aren't just communicating about policies or company strategy, but they're really also starting to be looked at as change agents for their organization. And so this becomes even more paramount that they're able to know, are people getting the message? Are they engaging with the content that I'm sending to them? And ultimately, the reason that they need to know all this is they really are trying to be better communicators the next time. So trying to understand, where are people reading these messages? Are they engaging with it? And how can I alter my content or alter when I send it or alter what channels I'm sending to it, et cetera, in order to improve that engagement and reach. All right, so Amplify is really designed to address those different concerns. And so it really has been built as a tool for corporate communicators. And by that, I mean that we want to reach corporate communicators have a lot of kind of more high fidelity needs. They have a lot of rich type of features that they need, and Amplify is designed to meet those types of needs. Well, at the same time, we recognize that there's other types of communicators in an organization. We've got folks in different that are supporting leaders, right? So we have communicators for leaders in the organization. We also have folks that are communicating based on kind of a functional role. Maybe they're in IT or HR or finance, or they have some other type of role, more of a functional role where they do a lot of communications. And then, of course, there's people like myself, or maybe a team lead, or maybe I'm giving an update on a new feature that we've released, or there's a project update or things like that when I want to just send a communication to my colleagues on my team. And so for that, Amplify is also designed to be simple enough to use that just about anybody can easily get started with it and communicate, and again, learn and be able to communicate more effectively. All right, so Amplify, kind of the core unique thing about Amplify is that it's a centralized place to create your communications and to publish them, to see that engagement, and to really collaborate with your the other members of your communications team. And so by doing that, we're hoping that we're going to save a bunch of time of people switching back and forth to these different tools, copying and pasting and revising content in different for different channels. It's all right here in Amplify, and it's one place where you can see everything easily and quickly get back up to speed, get back working on the things that you need to address. It's also designed to communicate broadly. So in Amplify, you're drafting your content once, and then we enable you to see what that content's going to look like in the different channels where you want to publish it. So Outlook, Teams, SharePoint, and Viva Engage. And then you can publish all at once to those channels. So that saves a huge amount of time, and it just is a really easy way to be able to customize that content for the specific channel as well. And then lastly, being able to communicate more effectively. This gets back to what I was talking about on the previous slide, which is really trying to help communicators know how did this communication land? You know, are my employees engaging with it? And then what can I do differently the next time to reach even more or get better engagement? So reporting, really good quality reporting is foundational to that. All right, a few other things that this kind of speaks a little bit more towards some of the additional kind of corporate communicator level type of features that are included in Amplify. So we've got additional things around workflow, like you can add approvers to your communication. You can have a publishing workflow where you're scheduling a communication to be published at a specific time. You can select multiple channels. You can just have one or up to 4 different channels where you're publishing to, and being able to target certain users in those different channels if you want to really promote the content to certain folks. We've got a bunch of out-of-box templates, but you can also save communications as templates, and I'll show you a little bit of that in the demo. And then you can, like I was mentioning, when targeting folks, you can boost and emphasize that critical news to specific groups or to the whole company as you, depending on which channel you're publishing to. All right, so as we go through the demo, you'll see that these are kind of the main kind of concepts of Amplify, where you can plan and manage your communications, and you've got communications, and then you've got what we call campaigns. And so think of a campaign as a series of communications that are related to each other. Maybe you've got a weekly newsletter. Well, that would be a newsletter campaign, and then you've got multiple publications within that campaign. You can also orchestrate and automate some of those things I just mentioned. With your team members, approvers, when you're publishing, all of that. And then, of course, it provides an editor where you can design and create beautiful content, and then publishing universally to those different channels, and measuring the effectiveness of your communications. So those are kind of the main core capabilities within Amplify. All right, I thought I'd share a little bit about use cases. We get this question quite a bit of what it can be used for, and this goes a little bit back to the types of users that Amplify is designed for, where you've got corporate communicators that are sending weekly newsletters, maybe an HR person that's sending out information about open enrollment, other organizational updates. So maybe a leader is communicating about leadership changes. And then maybe you've got an individual who needs to send out a message about their, conference trip report to their team, just to let them know kind of the things that they learned, share their learnings, et cetera. So a really wide range, but again, this really just speaks to the use cases go from that high fidelity, the high rich features that corporate communicators need, all the way down to sort of the simple, I can use this to send out a communication to my 20 team members. All right, I'm going to share a little bit about our roadmap, and then we'll jump into the demo. So on the left, you can see the features that are already available. But I'm going to go through the things that are coming this semester. So we plan on a semester basis. So a semester is January to June, and then July to December. And since we're in June now, you can see that a lot of the things on the right are checked off, and we've got the rest of these are coming either at the end of this month or very early into July. So obviously quite a long ways along in our semester. So copy of publication is a new feature that was released back in January. You can publish now to Viva Engage. This is something that folks have been waiting for quite a while. So that's a 4th publishing channel that has just been added. Open or dwell time is also a feature that we've shipped this semester, where folks can see what is the average time that the viewers are viewing the content. And then audience selection via CSV upload. So that's for Outlook, and instead of entering individual aliases, you can use a CSV upload for your audience selection. And then the other one that's been delivered is the inline GIF support. This is again for Outlook. And then the few that are coming still are Amplify from SharePoint. So this is a little bit different than kind of the main Amplify app. Amplify recognizes that not all authoring happens within the app. There's lots of different places where authors go to author content and publish that content. And one of them is SharePoint. We're based on SharePoint, but we also recognize that a lot of communicators start in SharePoint and do news posts there. And so we want to bring some of the richness of Amplify and some of the great capabilities of cross-channel publishing from the app into SharePoint directly. And so Amplify from SharePoint will do that. So for users that have Amplify, they would see a new capability, a new feature to amplify their news post and be able to publish it to additional channels. And then when they do that, they would also see the analytics and similar analytics to what I'll show you that are in the app that shows you how viewers are viewing it, engaging with that content based on the different channels that you've published to. So that is coming very soon. And then we've got multi-column email support. And so in Outlook, right now it's a single column. You'll see that in the demo currently, but this multi-column layout is coming just in the next month or so. So people are very excited about that. That's one of our top requests from a lot of our customers. Sensitivity labels for email, that's also rolling out this month. So if an organization requires sensitivity labels on email, they will see that option when they're drafting the email content within Amplify. And then unique clickers. So this is sort of like click-through rate, but this will be a metric that's coming hopefully by the end of this month. That will tell you how many of your users have clicked on a link in the communication. So again, measuring that engagement, which is really important. The last one's kind of an odd one, groupless campaigns. People are like, I'm not sure what that means. If you've used Amplify at all, you'll know that the way it was structured based on SharePoint sites is that when you create a campaign, it also creates an M365 group and it creates a team channel behind it. And so it added some additional infrastructure there that we had a lot of feedback from customers that, hey, we don't need all that. We have a different place where our communicators communicate. They don't need a new channel for every campaign. And so they didn't want all that group infrastructure behind it. And so that's one of the things that we're doing this semester. Oh, good. It's great to see some people applauding that, to remove that. And so when you create a campaign, all that extra stuff isn't created with it. So that should be coming here in the next month or two as well. All right. Any questions about any of that? I'll just pause before we jump into the demo.
Nope, none in the chat.
Okay, great. All right, so let's see if it's going to let me share what I would like to share. All right, so are you seeing Amplify?
Yep, we're seeing it.
Okay, perfect. All right, great. So, and I should mention, I didn't mention this in the beginning, but Amplify is part of a premium license in Viva. So for customers that have Microsoft 365, they can purchase an additional license, the Communications and Communities SKU or the Viva Suite. And so both of those include Amplify, and Amplify is only sold as a premium license. There's not any part of it that kind of like Engage where there's some that's included in M365 and some additional features that are part of that CNC SKU or Viva Suite. Amplify is only in the premium SKUs. All right, so when you come into Amplify, you land on this campaign page. And so as a communicator, this is all the campaigns that I have been working on. These are my campaigns only. I don't see things that I don't have access to. And I'll just give you a little orientation to this. In this case, you can see that I'm the owner on, well, I guess almost all of these I am made an owner on, or I created the campaign myself and that made me an owner. But I could also be an approver on a campaign, or I could be a member, an editor on a campaign. And so if someone else creates a campaign and they want me to participate and help edit and review that content, I can also have those types of memberships to different campaigns. So this lets me see which campaigns are live, which means that at least one publication in that campaign's been published, or a draft means that nothing in that campaign yet has been published. And I can also get a quick view for when there is something that's been published. And this is a demo tenant, so these numbers are going to be small, but when something has been published, you'll get a quick view of the report. So one person has viewed it, there have been 0 promotions, and so you can see that on a few of these other ones that they've got that kind of at a glance view of the engagement for that campaign. All right, so I'm going to click on this one to kind of show you what that looks like. All right, so this is one of we have 2 pre-built campaigns in Amplify, and that just means that for Copilot adoption and for how to use Viva to support your Copilot adoption, those are the 2 campaigns. We've drafted a bunch of these communications already for you, so you can just create this campaign, and all these publications will already be built for you with some other notes and stuff like that. So it just makes it an easy thing to demo. But if you are with an organization that is deploying Copilot and they have Viva, or they're looking at CNC, Amplify, and other Viva tools, have quite a few things to help support that adoption. All right, so in this overview page, you'll see a couple things to point out. Up here, I've got the members of my campaign, and I can easily, as you can see here, I've got the owner, editor, and approver roles, and I can easily add other people to this campaign, and then I can select what kind of a role I want to make them, or I can remove them and then save that. And then they'll get a notification that, hey, you've been added to this campaign, and then on that campaign page we were just looking at, they would now see this campaign show up on that page for them. You've also got quick access to start a new communication up here. Here you can see a couple of the out-of-box templates, and there's a blank template. And then this you can see is a recently created template that I've saved from a communication that was already built. You can see it looks a lot like this one. You can go here and to view more templates, and you'll see that we've got quite a few out-of-box templates. And then if you go to this tab, you'll see these are the templates that I've created from within this campaign. You, of course, can edit those there as well, but it makes it a really quick, easy way if you've got, for example, a weekly newsletter, to just start from that template you've used before. And then under this recent publications, again, just as a quick view, we only show the 4 recent publications you've been working on. I'll show you in a minute where you can see all the publications within this campaign. But again, we're trying to help that communicator know where to jump back in and quickly access the things that they were working on. And so you can see I've got a couple of communications here that were published, and it shows me the date that they were published. And the quick action here is to go and view that report. And again, I get that quick view of some of the analytics. I've got one here that's pending approval. And so, this quick action is different. It's view request. So if I want to go view that request and find out who hasn't approved it yet and ping them, I could easily do that. If you have one that's scheduled to publish, that's another state that would show up here, and it would show you the date that it's scheduled to be published. And you could then adjust that schedule if you wanted to, or cancel it too if you wanted to. And then over here, this one that's in draft. So the next action would be to publish it, but I could also go in and edit it. So, actually, before I show you that, let's go back to that overview. I wanted to show you a couple other things on the overview page. We have something called a campaign brief, and not everybody's going to use a campaign brief. This is really for sort of more of those formal campaigns. Maybe you've got, a strategy campaign, and you really want to make sure you're landing specific messages. You're going to communicate over time. You want to organize your communicators to make sure everybody's, on the same page. Maybe you have got a goal that you want to achieve. For that particular campaign, so you can set that goal here, and then you can track how it's performing against that goal. And then we've got this campaign objectives and key messages. And again, this is content that was already here from the pre-built campaign, but these are just open fields that you can edit. And so as a team, you can write this information down, and then that will be accessible later, and I'll show you that when you're actually drafting your communication, to be able to pull that back up and say, okay, what are the key messages for this, this week's communication that I really wanted to land, and make sure that's part of the communication. So it's just a way to help collaborate and get everybody aligned. And then this publications tab, this will show you all the publications. That overview page had these top 4, but you can see we actually have 9 communications within this campaign. And then reporting, I'll show you that here in just a minute, but I wanted to first go through that kind of creating and editing a communication. So when you click on the communication that you've created, then you get to this editor page. And so here, this is a bunch of content. If I click edit, you'll see that this is based on the SharePoint editor. So we've got a lot of the same web parts here that you're used to seeing if you edit in SharePoint. You can add additional sections. You can add new web parts within a section, etc. And so lots of text and then rich images. You could have videos, etc. However you want to lay things out here is kind of up to you. You can see in the properties, you can add some accessibility items there. We've got design ideas that can help to create beautiful content. We have a new accessibility assistant. And so this will review your content and let you know, hey, you've got a spot here that's got hard to read text. You want to go and address it and see if you can change the color or the background, etc. So you have, better contrast to help with accessibility. And then that writing guidance, this is where that brings in what we're just looking at with that campaign brief, those campaign objectives and the key messages. So again, just trying to help that communicator land the messages that they want to land and be a more effective communicator. And then the last thing you have over here are the channels that you want to publish to. So you can publish to all 4 of these channels. You can easily select or deselect the ones that you want to publish to. I'll pick them all so that you can see what that looks like. And then up here, I was going to show you. So once you get this content all done, you can save it as a template, or you can save it as a copy. A template just saves this main draft and how it looks. The copy will actually save any customizations you make for the individual channels that I'm going to show you here next, as well as the audiences you might have selected. So you've got a couple different options there. All right, so if I click next, we take that content, as I mentioned, and then we transform it into how it would look in each of the different distribution channels. So as you know, different distribution channels have different limitations on how content can appear. And so we're transforming those web parts in SharePoint into kind of the format and layout options that are available within the distribution channel. So for Engage, this is the Engage article format. You can see you've got beautiful images along with your text all in line. And what it enables you to do here is I can go and I can customize this content. So let's say for the Engage channel, I'm just going to show you this so you can see that making a change here, once that saves, I'll get an indicator that I've customized the Engage channel, but it doesn't change what it looks like for the other channels. It's just for Engage. And so maybe I want to shorten my message for Engage or for Teams, or maybe I want to make it, I can use Copilot here. I can show you that real quick. I could use Copilot by selecting content, and I could use Copilot to either auto rewrite that section, or I can adjust it to make it more concise or longer, more professional, more creative, more casual, etc. So again, some options for being able to customize that content for the audience and the channel that you're going to publish to. All right, and then I can select, you can post and publish to Engage as someone else. So if you wanted to send as or publish as somebody different, or maybe as a corporate communications mailbox or something like that, you can do that as long as you have the permissions to do that in Engage. One of the unique things about Amplify is I can publish from here up to 5 communities at the same time. And so that's not something that you can do directly in Engage. So that's a bit of an advantage here. And then you can also send as an announcement, and you can tag people just like you would in an Engage post. All right, so once I've got that done, I can look at Outlook. And again, this is showing me now, see that part that I removed from the Engage view still shows up here because that's what that original main draft had. And so you can see what the content looks like here. Right now it's still that one column, but very soon you'll have two column formatting available. Again, you can send as or publish on behalf of someone else as long as you have those permissions in Engage or in Exchange. Same with the distribution groups that you publish to. So in this case, Megan is publishing to the All Employees distribution group, but that's because she's an admin and she has permissions to do that. If users don't have permissions to do that, they'll be limited to the distribution groups that they do have permissions to publish to here. Here's that CSV upload where you can import a file to publish to. You can send yourself a test email. I know there was times when I was sending out large communications in a previous role, and I would always send myself a test email because for some reason it always came out different when I published it in Outlook. So we have that just as a little bit of a check to make sure I know what it's going to look like. Again, I can edit here. I can make this different and customize for this channel if I want, but I don't have to. And then SharePoint will be the same as that main draft. And then we have Teams as well. So again, you can select your audiences. You can send a test message in Teams. And in SharePoint, let's make sure I've selected an audience here. Yeah, you can select the different sites that you want to publish to. And then once you've got all your content done, you can decide how you want to publish it. So I can choose to publish it now. I can schedule to publish, or I can request an approval. Owners of the campaign also have an option to require approvals on all communications within the campaign. That's a setting on that overview page. There's a setting there where you can require approvals for all publications. I'll show you what this, actually, let's do the schedule to publish since we don't have one in the overview. That was for schedule to publish, just so you can kind of see what that looks like. For any of those options you choose, it's going to show you a summary panel. So what it's doing right now, it's going and checking those audiences that you've selected audiences to publish to for each of the channels, that you have permissions to publish to those different audiences, or if you're publishing on behalf of, that you have those permissions, etc. And so it will provide a summary, which hopefully it will come up. Usually it's pretty quick, of all of that, so you can see and just do a kind of a final check. Did I want to publish to all 5 of those engaged communities? I'm publishing as Megan, the title that I have, etc. So who in Outlook am I sending it to? You can expand that to see the SharePoint sites I'm publishing to, the Teams channel, etc. So if that all looks good, I'll hit next, and then I can select when I want to publish this. Let's say I'm going to publish on Friday, and I can pick a time that I think people will be ready to view it, and it will schedule it. Which takes a minute. Any questions?
Ooh, while that's happening, there's a question in here from Michael that's really interesting. Assuming we would allow this on a tenant level, can we use Amplify to include sending an email to users external to our organization?
Yes, you can send emails externally from within Amplify. The only challenge with that is that we don't get the signals back on whether they've read it because we don't have that connection to external email clients as of yet. So you can send it, but you won't get the reporting for those external users.
Awesome. That's great.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I think Jason has a question as well. When you publish to all 4 channels, does the end user receive 4 separate notifications, one for each channel, or is there a single notification sent to a central location? It would be nice if there were some sort of rolling notification system in place that prevents duplicate notifications if the user has already opened the notification, say in Teams.
Yeah, that's great. Great feedback. So right now, if that user is part of all 4 audiences that you've selected, then yes, they would get the email. They went to the engaged community, they would see it there. If they went to that Teams channel, they would see it there. If they went to the SharePoint site, they would see it there as well. what we'd really like to do is to be able to somehow indicate to that user once they've seen it in one of the channels that they've already viewed it in the other, when they go to those other channels to indicate that they've already viewed it. But that's not something, it's on our backlog. It's just we don't have a plan yet for when we would be able to do that.
All right, great question. Thanks, Britt.
It is, it's a great question. All right, so you can see that this is scheduled. If I go back now to the campaign, that campaign overview, you'll see that this is now scheduled for June 13th. And again, I can edit that scheduled when it's scheduled to publish there as that quick action. Okay, so now I'm going to show you the reporting. And so again, we've got, these two constructs of we've got the campaign. And so we've got these reports at the campaign level. And what that means is that this is an aggregate of these different metrics across all the communications that have been published in the campaign. And so if you've got that, that kind of more formal campaign that you're wanting to send out, a series of communications and see how are we achieving that goal that we set? How are things progressing over the whole campaign? This campaign view will show you that, but you can also see these same metrics at the individual publication view, and I'll show you that here. So down at the bottom, you can see that these are the two communications in this campaign that have been published, and so these reports up here are based on that. All right, so what do we have here? We've got the viewers, your unique viewers from all time across the organization, and so if let me edit this view, depending on how your organization and which channels you publish to, if you publish to, say, a SharePoint site that's open to your entire organization of 500,000 people or something like that, these numbers get really big and become sort of a strange number. And so we give you that option to, like I just showed you, to edit that view so you can see the real numbers. In this case, they're small, but if you have large organizations, that's one benefit. And so you can see by the channels that these publications have been published to, how many people are viewing it and where. You can also see over time, and there's different time segments that you can select for when people have viewed it. So you can see all the views of those two communications, but you can also, again, view that by channel. So if you just wanted to see it for Engage, you could see when folks were viewing it in Engage, when folks viewed it in Outlook, when folks viewed it in SharePoint, and then overall. So it gives you some flexibility, again, to help you learn a little bit more about how am I reaching people and where are they seeing this? Are they seeing it in Outlook right away? That maybe the folks that we send it to and Engage, they see it, a couple of days later, or maybe it's the other way around. It kind of can help you to learn, like, how are people, where are they working and how are they engaging with the content? Then we have promotions. So this is when folks have shared or promoted a post. And then reactions. So we've got positive reactions, negative reactions, and then there's a bunch that we aren't sure if they're positive or negative, and so they get stuck in the other bucket. Again, you can, filter by different time ranges. And then this is the average time spent per user, kind of what we also it's known as dwell time. And so you can see for those who have viewed it, what that average time is, 1 minute and 9 seconds, to give you an idea of, are they really, did they just like scroll through their inbox and open it, or did they actually spend time on it? And so again, you can view that channel breakdown of Outlook, and this one just has SharePoint, so maybe this isn't, this is only in, I'm sorry, that's right, this is only in SharePoint and Outlook, so we won't see for Engage and for Teams this particular metric. All right, any questions about that so far? Okay, I'll show you a little bit more because there's one other thing. When you go into the individual publication report, you get these same metrics. The same reports are here as well, but you get an additional detailed report down here at the bottom. Hopefully you can see that okay. And you can see by the channels that you've published to, the same unique views, the promotions, but now you can also see how many comments were made and then those reactions there as well. And you've got some filters here where you can, if you've selected multiple audiences, let's say, so maybe you publish to multiple SharePoint sites, or you send it to, here there's multiple engaged communities, then you can see actually at those individual audiences these same metrics. So it breaks it down one level further. And you can also, if you have HR data, if you want to integrate it, there's the Modus Microsoft Organizational Data Ingestion System, I think it is. Michelle, you might know better. But you can use that to upload your HR data, and then you'll have some additional attributes here that you can group this report by and get even more detailed reporting. All right, one last thing about the reports. You can copy any of these reports and paste it, but you also have, you can download a CSV file, or you can click this link and it will create a PowerPoint file with a page for each of these reports. So that if you wanted to share that out and give an update on how your campaign is doing, makes it really easy to do that. All right. That is the main overview of Amplify. Any questions?
Yeah, it looks like there's a question from Eric on if you could touch on licensing requirement again for Amplify.
Yeah, you bet. So Amplify is part of the Viva Premium licensing. So for M365 customers, there's an additional license, what's called Communications and Communities. We call it CNC. And Amplify is included in that, or the Viva Suite. Amplify is also included there. So one of those is required. There isn't any, no features of Amplify are provided in M365. It's only available through a premium license.
And I guess maybe I have a follow-up question just for clarification. Does the corp communicators, the ones who are actually building these campaigns and these communications, the ones who would be licensed, or would then everyone who consumes it also need to be licensed?
Yeah, currently I think because in that CNC license, you're also getting the premium Viva Engage as well as premium Viva Connections, that you're required to license everyone in your organization. But we know that there's a little bit of pushback on that one, but currently that's the way it's stated, is that everyone in the organization needs to be licensed.
Perfect. All right, I went ahead, Eric, and put it in the chat so you can dig a little bit deeper on licensing. It's shows the Viva plans and pricing. So the separate communications and communities, and then of course the all-up Viva suite.
Thank you, Michelle.
Yeah.
Great. Well, would love for you to try it out. And if you have questions, feel free to reach out to me. We've got more that's coming in the next semester. And so, yeah, we really welcome feedback. If you've got other ideas or other features that you'd love to see in Amplify, please let us know.
All right. Thanks so much, Britt. You are definitely the resident expert on this.